Welcome to Securing America with me, Frank Gaffney, the program that's a kind of owner's manual for protecting the country we love against all enemies, foreign and domestic, to God's glory and that of his kingdom. I am concerned about a very significant problem in this effort to protect our country against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and that is that our own government seems to be a big part of the problem rather than a key piece of the solution to those threats. Specifically, we're all aware of the debacles that Biden has been perpetrating in various international settings and their knock-on effects. Think Afghanistan, for example. The practical effect of that has been to cause an awful lot of enemies of our country to be emboldened, to be more convinced than ever that they will be able to have their way with us and others around the world. Less understood, but certainly deeply troubling as well, is the calculation that a lot of friends of America are making at the moment, that the United States is on the decline. At the best, it's irresolute. At worst, it's now enfeebled, to the point where some are simply making a separate peace, cutting deals with adversaries against whom we used to protect them. Or perhaps they're thinking about what they best do to protect themselves, perhaps even including acquiring nuclear deterrence capabilities of their own. We're going to be hearing more about these matters and trend lines in the days to come, not least because President Biden is in Asia, East Asia specifically, talking with the South Koreans, talking with the Japanese, talking with our other allies there, to get a sense of what he's up to and what he might be welcomed by, at least by the North Koreans. I'm very pleased to have our friend Charles Sam Faddis with us. Sam is, of course, a man who has served his country in both the uniform of the United States Army and as an undercover operative at the Central Intelligence Agency. He's an author, former congressional candidate, and now the driving force behind a terrific platform now at Substack called andmagazine.com. Sam, thanks for joining us once again. It's good to have you with us, sir, as always.
Oh, always great to be here, Frank. Thank you.
So you've written at Substack that there may be a welcoming reception for Joe Biden of a rather untoward kind by folks in Pyongyang. What do you think Kim Jong-un may be up to?
Well, there's a whole bunch of assessment by the U.S. government and by some independent entities that North Koreans are prepping to pop off another nuclear weapon. They're going to conduct a nuclear test that coincides with Biden's presence in the region.
Something they had not done through the Trump years and to this point in the Biden period either, have they?
Right. Right. And of course, this comes in the context of a whole bunch of other things. They've done a whole slew of missile tests recently, including one the other day that was apparently from a submarine. They are continuing work on a new nuclear missile sub. And they have made a series of pronouncements recently in which they have said clearly that if they want to, they will preemptively use nuclear weapons. They will begin a war with nuclear weapons. So all of that is very foreboding. And I think you put your finger on it in the introduction when you said there's blood in the water here. We got a guy who's compromised. He's not just incompetent. He's compromised at the helm in the Oval Office. And every thug on the planet is going to take a swing at us.
Yeah, unfortunately, or at least threaten to do so, and may, as a result, get their way in material fashion. Sam, one of the things that you didn't mention in that litany of things that the North Koreans have been doing is putting into place, apparently, hypersonic weapons, something presumably they got from their friends in Russia or maybe China, that we do not have in our own arsenal. So when they talk about preemptive warfare, and by the way, the Russians and Chinese are talking about preemptive nuclear warfare as well at the moment. How serious a problem is it that our own nuclear deterrent forces are, well, obsolescent is being charitable,
Yeah.
and seriously in need of both modernization and an overhaul uh, at every level, including in terms of our training, our doctrine, our readiness of these forces, our industrial base supporting them.
Well, it's a massive problem, Frank, as you know, and this extends to nuclear weapons and everything else. We just sort of assume that we were given by God somehow the capacity to automatically win any major war anytime we want. We're seeing a
Permanently.
complete shift in the balance of power. We are looking at the prospect, as I've said many times, of losing a war, not getting tired of one and deciding to go home. A war where we lose and we're the guys standing on the deck having the terms of surrender dictated to us as the Japanese were at the end of World War II. That is where we are headed if we don't change course.
Yeah. It's interesting. I saw a piece yesterday, I think it was, about Israel coming to the conclusion, at least some influential folks in the Israeli government, that Israel can't afford to just declare that they have successfully operated against their enemies. They have to actually win wars again. And the
Yes.
same, I think, has to be our purpose. Sam, one other thing that I wanted to visit with you about, I think you've written about this at Substack as well, if I'm not mistaken, recently, and that is the food crisis that has arisen. It's not just baby formula in this country, it is a worldwide food shortage and potential famine prospect that we're looking at now. Is that right?
We are seeing already food riots. The nation of Sri Lanka is effectively out of fuel and out of food. They are burning to the ground politicians' homes, running their cars into the river. There is mob violence because they've already gone over the edge. The Indians just said, we won't export wheat anymore. They were expected to be the guys who were going to save us to make up for Ukraine and Russia. So people are talking 100 million dead in Africa. This is no longer, you might go to Safeway and there might be a few things not on the shelf. We're looking at catastrophe worldwide. Yes.
Yeah. Including some significant shortages here. And empty
Yes.
shelves will be just one symptom of it.
Yes.
And again, we're witnessing that with respect to baby formula. The president apparently is now going to have the Defense Production Act invoked to try to get more baby formula, import it, have military airlift, no less, assigned to the mission of moving this kind of product here, having failed, evidently, to anticipate this problem, let alone take steps before it eventuated.
Right.
And that seems to be sort of a piece with the larger problem that we're confronting, isn't it,
Right.
Sam, in terms of failing to appreciate these real threats to our country, let alone take appropriate steps to counteract them.
Yeah, look, not only are they not taking steps to counteract things, they're doing everything they can think of to make it worse, right? We have a worldwide energy crisis. Down in DC, they're adding extra digits to the gas pumps because they're anticipating $10 a gallon gas. And every time you turn around, the Biden administration takes another chunk of public land out of circulation, out of consideration for gas and oil drilling. So we're continuing the jihad against fossil fuels while the place is burning to the ground. I mean, you
In some
can't.
cases,
It's not just
literally
incompetence;
so.
it's malfeasance, obviously.
Well, it does seem to me, and I've said this elsewhere, as well as on this program, it is a wrecking operation. And
Yes.
to use the old Leninist phrase, the worse, the better. And we're getting worse and worse by the day. Sam Faddis, we have to take a short break. We're going to be right back with more with Sam about a little bit of good news. The Disinformation Governance Board is over the side. What do we make of that? And more right after this.